Welcome to the Crazy Chat. I'm Lisa with our Georgia Suburban Homestead, but you all know that, right? Oh my God, what a week. Um, let's see, Pescatarian Gardener, thank you for being here. David Gray, hello, hello, hello. Um, so let's start off by asking how your week's been. What crazy stuff has happened to you? While the Bud Files, hello, thanks for coming in. Don't forget the thumbs up. I just got notification that I'm live. It's nice for a StreamYard to let me know I'm live. Yeah. I suppose I should turn the sound off. There we go. All right. Wow, so what a week. We've been having really bad drought here. It was like we went a month without rain, and then temperatures started hovering around 100 degrees out there with low humidity, which is, if you're familiar with Atlanta, that's not Atlanta. Hey, God's Desire for me. Welcome, welcome. I mean, it's gotten so when you walk out, everything's crunching under your feet like it's right before winter or something. And then earlier this week, we started having rain. But here's the thing. We're in what Charlie calls a rain shadow. If you're familiar with Stone Mountain, Georgia, it's to the west of us just a few miles. And the way our property is lined up, when the rain comes over the mountain, it parts over the mountain. And the rain clouds go this way and this way. Our house is right here. So we can literally drive up the street 2 or 3 streets, and it's raining 2 or 3 streets this way. It's raining. Thank you, honey.
You're welcome.
David will appreciate this. Brought me my insulin. Excuse me while I take it. So I am now going to cardiac rehab 3 times a week. And we go to rehab, and I'm sitting there doing the exercise bike, and I'm looking out the window, watching it rain, getting all happy. And by the time we get home, it's dry here. No rain has happened. So that's been kind of crazy to drive through the rainstorms just less than a quarter mile from the homestead here. That's been kind of crazy to drive through the rainstorms. You need to mute that, baby. Yeah. So that's been kind of frustrating. Our water bill tripled this month because we've had to water.
And water.
So, Requin, thank you. She's telling me that she's had a great rain out in Douglasville. That's quite a tease. Hey, Suzanne. Everybody give our moderator hands. She's the best moderator we have. Thank you, Suzanne. No offense, Charlie. But you get over there, you go to sleep. He reads.
I have a 5-second delay.
So anyway, so our garden's been really sad between me being sick and not being able to tend it like I should, and the drought. We're starting to see peppers come in. The tomatoes are starting to ripen. I think the beans have burned themselves out. Bayou Sugar, welcome, welcome. So everything's dry where you are too, huh, Raekwon? Yeah. Sifting some soil. Hey, welcome in. Welcome in. So, Suzanne, I wish we had 5 inches of rain here, but I think the ground is so dry it would just run off. tell you the truth. So we're not going to have much of a garden this year. There's always next fall, right? I'll have to start seed next week or the week after for the fall garden. I think I'm finally strong enough to do something like that in the greenhouse. But there's so much to do here, so much tidying up. Poor Charlie can't do it all, though he tries. I just started driving short distances again. So, hey, don't forget thumbs up. It helps the algorithm, helps my channel. So how many of you watched the video I released last night? Travels and gardening. Hey, welcome, welcome. I'm so glad to see you all. I really am. So how many, it's been, David Gray says it's been raining here almost every day, not always the whole day, but sometimes. I haven't had to water for over a week. I'm really jealous, David. Oh, okay. Remind me at the end of the broadcast or send me an email, Travels and Gardening, and I'll start your playlist. I need to update my playlist too. But my viewership has been way down since I disappeared for a month, and I haven't been as religious in posting things. I just haven't had the energy. So anyway, what was I saying, Charlie? Keep me on track. My brain's not working. Last night's video. I know that God's Desire for Me watched the video because she left a comment. Haven't seen the video yet. Let me see if I can grab it for you. I will grab the URL. I think. I was, while I'm doing this, I'll tell you, I was visited by an old friend in this video.
Haven't had the energy.
And the friend appears in this video. So it's a sad video. It was happy and sad. Let's discuss it. What about it was sad to you, Suzanne and David? What about it was happy for you? Taking my drugs. So we've had chickens for years. Of course, we don't have any roosters. And about 2 years ago, I decided I would like a duck or two, a Muscovy duck. And we have them in our yard down in Florida, and I just so enjoyed them. I had an old lady duck who used to visit me every year and bring her young for years and years. So 2 years ago, I said to Charlie, I said, let's get some ducks, just a couple. And then we discovered duck eggs and how delicious they are. So we got 3 more ducks. And we do have a drake. So Charlie was joking and saying he, since we never had anything hatch, and we were letting the ducks, last year we let them sit on a little clutch. They didn't hatch and they disappeared finally. And he says, oh, the drake's name is Sam. And he says, Sam shoots blanks. Well, he doesn't, because we walked in to the chicken house last night, and lo and behold, there were 5 ducklings. Now, what brought me as the sun was setting into the chicken house, I was out watering all the pepper plants that we have in 5-gallon grow bags, and I heard wings flapping in the chicken house. And I was thinking to myself, boy, those aren't flapping like they're jumping up on their perch. That's flapping like there's a snake in there. So I finished watering and I walked in there thinking I'm crazy. And I saw the ducklings and I got all excited and I called Charlie in. Charlie, come see, we've got ducklings. Waited till he got up to the chicken house to say, ooh, ducklings. And he started shooting that video. And then I looked over to the nesting box and there was Buffy, my, I think she was a Cochin something. Anyway, she was a real friendly chicken. She was probably 6 years old this year. So it's probably the last year she was laying for us. And the snake had her wrapped up. And this is a snake that's been visiting us since we've lived here. And it has some distinct markings on it that I recognize it every year. And it's so used to seeing me, I just pick it up. And I think if you watch the video, you'll hear me say, oh no, we don't do this. I went over and I unwrapped it and it crawled off to the side and I did CPR on the chicken. Decided she was probably dead. Charlie dug a hole and went to lay her in it and I saw her twitch. I said, okay, we can't bury her. If she's in a coma and she's coming back, we've got to give her a chance to do that. So we picked her back up out of the hole and I put her back in a nesting box. And Charlie positioned her head so she could breathe. And today we went out and she's gone. The snake choked her out. So Buffy's gone. But then the video goes on and shows you how the snake wasn't afraid of me at all. Wasn't intimidated. And I picked it up. It was trying to stay in the chicken house because it wanted some eggs, obviously. Well, I didn't want it to move from the eggs onto the babies and get the babies. So I carried it to the other end of the property and put it in the greenhouse where I know we've got some rodents. And hopefully it'll stay there for a couple of days and fill its belly. But I don't like killing wildlife. And you all know that. 2 years ago, about the time we got the ducks, I did kill 2 copperheads. And why did I kill the copperheads? They lived alongside us for years. I had one that would pop up in the garden when I gardened, and she'd get, like 3 feet from me and follow me as I worked the garden. Was friendly, I didn't touch her or anything, although she did, when I was sitting in a lawn chair one time, she crawled in from the back and crawled over my foot and off into the garden. But this particular year, she had gotten so comfortable, like the black snake in the video, so comfortable with us that she didn't run anymore. And you don't want that with a venomous snake. You want them scared of you. So that when they see you coming, that they run and they hide. Well, she had gotten so she'd stand her ground, especially with our pets. And that one year, she bit 2 dogs and a cat, my favorite cat, bit him in the face. And I couldn't have that. And so we were out there a few days after her biting the kitty. And there she is laying there like within just 2 feet of us or 2 feet of me and looking up at me. And I said, I'm sorry, girl. By this time we had started giving tours of the garden to customers that come by. And I said, I can't risk someone being bitten. So, and I still feel guilty about it. Bayou, that is a eastern black rat snake. And they are harmless to you and I and your pets, unless you've got teeny little pets. They are great hunters of rodents. They eat copperheads. They eat, other venomous snakes, small birds. What else do they eat, Charlie? Any small animal, but they're really good about eating the venomous snakes. So we want to encourage the black rat snakes to be in our gardens. Oh, they eat bunnies and any small rodents. You can't really in Georgia discourage the copperheads. They're so prolific here that some estimates are that we have 5 copperheads per acre in Georgia. And if you kill a couple, then others just come in and fill that void. I know of 2 that are on the property now. And then we've got 3 of the black rat snakes. And the one in the video is probably at least 6 feet long. Would you say, Charlie? It's a big snake, and it's an old snake because we've been here 10 years now, and it's been coming back to see us every year. Again, not afraid of me at all. It knows I'm not going to hurt it. And if you look in the video, you can see the eye is kind of milky. That means it's about ready to shed. And usually snakes that are shedding are cranky. And if one's going to bite you, that's not prone to biting. It's going to bite when it's about to shed. And this snake didn't offer to bite at all. It didn't like me picking it up. It kept twisting in my hand. But it ended up wrapping itself around my waist as I brought it down to the greenhouse. So, Bayou, what did you think of the video? Well, so Suzanne, you saw what kind of snake in your garden?
Yeah, close.
So that was our excitement for the week, disappointment in the rain, and excitement over the babies. I'm trying to convince a friend to take the mother duck and her babies and let her raise them. Well, we don't need that many birds. The babies put us over the limit from what the county allows us to anyway. So maybe my friend will come get the babies when they're a little bit bigger. I don't know. I've also offered them to my neighbor across the street. He hasn't gotten back to me yet. So God's desire for me. Is the snake okay, or did you do anything? Sweet Thumb, welcome, welcome. Okay, what kind of snake did you step on? Yeah, it was an emotional roller coaster. I was happy for the ducklings, and then I got really worried for the ducklings, and I was really. Last year, the snake wrapped itself around a duck. It didn't kill her. We were able to unwrap her in time, I guess, if you remember that video. But this is the same snake. But this year, I wasn't in time. Had I not been distracted by the ducklings, I probably would have been able to save that chicken's life. But I was distracted before I looked over and saw it. And it was a sweet chicken. Again, she was 6 years old this year. So we start losing them at 6 or 7. Here, usually they quit laying and they kind of give up on life. Yeah, Requin. You can kill all the copperheads you want, and they'll just come right back. Because as I said, there's 5 per acre where we are, and they give birth, live birth. They don't lay eggs. The babies come out ready to go, and they'll have quite a few at a time. There's just no thinning them out in our part of the world. Now, I haven't seen a rattlesnake since living in Georgia. In Florida, we had them. We had diamondbacks that were humongous. And, they tend to bunch up together, so they're kind of scary. Black with stripes. Stripes around this way or stripes with long along the body? Anyway, so what else has been crazy this week, y'all? Can you think of the craziest thing that we've had happen this week? I'll give you a minute. And I'm going to write down who talks and who doesn't. And that's how I'm going to do the prizes tonight. Participation. So, question 1 on crazy stuff. What was the craziest thing that happened earlier this week? Yes, sweet thumb. Okay, I'll give you a hint on what I think is crazy. Yeah, I'm jealous, God's desire for me. Lengthwise stripes. Okay, that was probably a garter snake. That's the only snake I know with length stripes that go down lengths, and they eat locusts and small rodents and small birds and big bugs. It's a good one to have in the garter. David says he would rather not talk about the craziest thing that happened. The poo-poo event, yes.
Poo-poo.
Pew, pew.
Oh.
Yes. My initial reaction was not a very kind one. I thought out loud, I said, why couldn't the kid shoot straight? That was not a very kind thought, but that's where my mind went and keeps going back because, he gave up his life and I don't know. They're saying now that it did not make that person's popularity go up in the polls, which I'm happy about. And the other guy up there in Washington is being pressured to step aside, which I'm praying he does. It's just crazy times, crazy week. Random Kirkubits. Oh, you're so lucky. Me and everyone else thought that. I joked. There's a number of links. I'm going to share some links with y'all on things that I watch regularly. I said something like that on the Young Turks news broadcast. I said, it had to have been a right winger because he couldn't shoot straight. Because everybody, a left winger because he couldn't shoot straight because everybody on the right knows how to handle a weapon. And I had people laughing and some people got really mad saying that they were Democrats and they could shoot straight. But it was a tragedy, yes. But it's who we are today. That's the level of hate and division in this country is higher and more dangerous than I've ever seen in my 64 years here, and more power charged than it was when I was a journalist reporting on these topics. And one of the reasons we left South Florida was the level of hate there. And I got tired of writing about hate and people shooting each other and poisoning each other and the violence that goes on in South Florida. It's not the place to live, y'all. You might think you're going to retire and go to Florida. Don't do it. if there's a war for whatever reason, it's going to break out there. So Mona, where are you to be without power? Did Burl get you? Too much pew pew stuff going on. And yeah, I expect it too. Yeah. So I'm going to have to start from scratch again for the fall garden, I think. So what type of things does Lisa here do to stay informed? As a former journalist who worked for mainstream media, I'm going to tell you to shut them off. If mainstream media in this country were a tabletop, they would be sideways and everything would be sliding off to the side. They're so one-sided. And I don't care who they are. You may have balanced reporting for your local news, but your national and international news, they don't even try to hide anymore that they're slanting. So I have started watching alternate news sources. So what are y'all's favorite channels to watch for news? Lost power for 6 days. That's a long time. We left South Florida because of the hate and the hurricanes. In 2005, we had 5 hurricanes pass over our house within the matter of 3 months. And we were without power 6 weeks. So try that in the heat. Okay, let me get... I'm going to get this for you. Now, this guy actually tried to run for president this year to make a point. He knew he wasn't going to get anywhere. Hey, Nikki, welcome, welcome. Now, because I'm an old lady, I don't approve of this guy's, I don't approve of his delivery, his channel's delivery. I think they use a lot of vulgarity. Cenk, who is the one who established the channel, has a habit of screaming and being very emotional and sarcastic. He gets his point across. He's usually pretty on target with his predictions, but I don't like his delivery, and he very much caters his channel to the 20-something crowd. And I'm not that, but I do enjoy the fact that he has his own media channel and doesn't answer to corporate interests, so he reports things as he sees them. Are those people who have channels, David? Suzanne says she reads more news than she watches, reminds herself that to understand the ways others think, she needs to see somewhat they watch and read. That's right. I'll have to look them up. What are their slant on things, David? Okay. Let me try to get things. What happened to Medi? So I I met Mehdi. When was it, Charlie? It was before my heart problems. February? He came to speak in Atlanta to a very large Indian Muslim organization. And he talked about Hindu nationalism. If you're not following what's going on overseas, India has been slaughtering its Muslims and Christians. And so they invited him in to talk about that and to talk about why our news isn't really covering it. David's eating corn on the cob, so he can't type much. Anyway, so I met Mr. Hassan when he was here. He was just after he was fired from MSNBC because he was a little bit mean to a Israeli diplomat. And when you work in our mainstream media, you can't criticize that country. Yeah, it gets you fired. I know, because I was fired for a few jobs for criticizing it and standing up for Palestine. You can't tell the truth. But if you want to hear some hard-hitting facts in journalism, he's not pulling any punches with that Substack, and that's another person I listen to. Al Jazeera is a wonderful network. They do real journalism. Is it slanted? Depends on the topic, but other than that, they will give you perspective, especially with some of their focal shows that you don't hear in the West. So Al Jazeera English, green beans, potatoes, and ham. That sounds like quite a meal. Oh. Charlie cooked dinner tonight. He cooked a salmon, couscous, and a salad from the garden with a little bit of celery in it. And what were those berries, Charlie? So Al Jazeera, check them out. Check out their focal programs. Some of them are really good. They bought my last documentary I made. I used to make documentaries with a British film company. And they bought the last one I made with that company quite a few years ago, where I produced the video about a Chechen plastic surgeon and who lives in Boston now. And he periodically goes back into Chechnya, sneaks in because the Russians want him dead and the Chechens want him dead. So he'll sneak in, he'll go and repair war damaged children, whether they have blown off legs or whatever, or cleft palates, and he'll fix that, and then he gets out of the country before they can catch him. It's
berries? Those were tomatoes, baby.
Let's see. Those are my tomatoes?
Yeah, little cherry tomatoes.
Shredded barbecue. Oh, that sounds good. Okay, you got to send a recipe. So David says he's never had couscous. David, do you have any Moroccan restaurants where you are? Do you know? Because that's the best place to try it. Because it's like the pasta of Morocco and North Africa. And there were a couple of kinds. The usual couscous is very small, and it's semolina that's been rolled into little balls, and it's really a type of pasta that is then steamed with whatever you're cooking, and it takes on the flavor of what you're cooking. And then there's a pearled couscous that's a little bit bigger, that's got a nice texture. It's worth a try if you can. if you can find it. So where else do I get my information? Oh, Bo of the Fifth Column. Now, this guy is something else. Oh, now Bo I have actually run into when I was working in the field in Florida. And I didn't know him at the time, but I remember him. He's got the kind of face that you don't forget. And when I found him here on YouTube, I went, I know this guy. And then I heard him speak, and I go, I know this guy. But he had some of the same challenges I had on the job where we stood up to corporate editors. It doesn't get you anywhere. You can't really fight corporations, unfortunately. Okay, really no recipe. Chicken out of the jar, shredded it up, added barbecue sauce. I use Sweet Baby James. That looks good. So, David, what do you think of Bo? So it's been kind of interesting after the assassination attempt to look at how different media is covering it around the world, and the fear, literally fear, that the world has that this will give Trump a bump and get him back in the White House. And we really, all of us don't need that. Yeah, David, Bo came out with a video right before we went on the air where he's almost, I can hear him choking up to cry. Someone wrote to him that was thinking about self-exiting, and he was giving them a pep talk. So he's got a good heart. Thoughts on News Channel. They offer create problems so the commercial sponsors can sell you solutions, buy a Coke and a smile. Well, you don't see that on the News Channel. Or you don't see a news reporter saying that. But they really, since I left the field and just before I left the field, they really stopped hiding the fact that they slanted issues this way or that way. And I was forever standing up in editorial meetings and saying, you can't report this way. This is going to cause problems between people. And of course, I'd be right, but they didn't care. And if I made too much noise, I was handed a little pink slip of paper. But my last job was at as a producer at CBS News in Miami, and I just walked off the job. I just walked out over pay issues and coverage of a couple of stories that caused problems, like you're talking about. But what I saw in a decline of the industry really started after USA Today came into being. And it's what I call the McPapering, like the McDonald's fast food, the McPapering of the news, where everything that was reduced to a headline and a few sentences. To me, journalism was the type of journalism I did, which you take a topic, you give it background, you tell everybody why it's important, where it's happening, when it's happening, and you let the issue speak for itself, and you let your reader make their own decisions on where they stand on the issue. And that's the way I was trained, not to publish any facts unless you try double check, triple check them, and you can verify with documentation that the facts are facts. And nowadays, reporters snatch comments made on social media, string them together, and call that journalism. That's not journalism. That's not journalism. Ed Travers for a Christian channel. I stay away from anything Christian. Um, yeah, exactly. Well, I can tell you in the newsroom when the internet started coming to be in the 90s, it caused a panic in the glass office because it's about the time they started encouraging something that they called citizen journalism, where they encouraged the regular untrained person out there to just write in whatever they wanted to write in, and then they would publish it as if it were fact. And that's when I saw the demise of the profession. When no one's verifying, the checks and balances went out the window. And we end up with what we have today. And there's so much going on in this world that we do not hear about, right? And that's why I do international news. I really encourage you to look at Al Jazeera, because they'll cover topics that you weren't even aware were topics. Also, I look at the Australian press, although more and more they're resembling the American press. The British press is some of it's spot on, and most of it is resembling the American press with a different slant because it is, Britain. Best Christian channels where you heard about, that surprises me. Yeah, I'd argue when Rupert Murdoch began buying things is when things went way south, because he is so slanted and controls what his journalists say and do. It's ridiculous. I had a friend that I went to school with that started out at a paper he bought that's published out of DC, and he said to me, he says, I can't work here. I can't publish what's going on. His policy won't let me. And he went from DC to the LA Times. I don't even know if he's still working. A lot of the people I worked with left the industry and either were pink slipped as newsrooms shrank, or received or just took buyouts. There is one person who's still writing for the Sun Sentinel that is a super reporter. She does really good investigative work, but even she has expressed some frustration. Anything owned by Murdoch and Koch is questionable. Exactly. Exactly, So, what were y'all's thoughts when you heard about the shooting? I discovered, and I know I'm behind in discovering other YouTubers. I think she's called a Yankee Homesteader. Does that sound right? Oh. She calls herself Meemaw. I'm not finding her. And I discovered her recently, and one of the reasons I'm feeling more comfortable covering this here in our live stream is because of what she said. I was afraid of alienating people. And I don't mean to alienate, but good Lord, guys, we got to talk about these things. Just about everyone who's a member of my channel is from the continental United States. I've got some Canadians, and one or two people from overseas. I've got a lot of people from overseas that live here now, so I've got a good spectrum of opinions. But we've got to start having dialogue, constructive dialogue. I mean, do you agree with what I'm saying? I mean, you don't have to agree with me politically or religiously or whatever, but we need to have a dialogue. You thought it was staged and scripted. You know what's really weird, David? Your name on my chat bar, you've got two comments in a row, and the first one was spelled DVAID, and it just kind of blinked and went back to David. So Bayou just wondered if he was alive or dead. Sweet Thumb was ambivalent. So at a high school reunion, when I heard about it, wondered why Secret Service didn't take care of the issue earlier. And then it was a bad shot, but I kept my mouth shut as the group was upset. Yeah, how do you miss with an AR-15? I mean, but, you know, when your adrenaline is flowing and your hands shake. But still, he was just a kid. I mean, I see his picture. He looked like he was like 14 years old to me. And what would motivate someone that young to take such action are things, those of you that have kids, or maybe some of you that are in here, Charlie, there's Brucey, that have younger people. Are things really that hopeless? I mean, how do you feel about the future? Because I'm at the end of my life. I'm worried about them cutting Social Security because we don't have any savings to speak of. We're going to have to live off Social Security. And if they kill that, what happens to us? Huh? Everyone's watching us, David. Okay, there it goes again. This is weird. It's reordering the letters in David. Yeah, so what can we do as older people to care for ourselves if we were counting on that and lost if we had any savings? We lost it to my first medical problem in 2003. So Charlie and I are trying to enjoy ourselves as much as we can now. Of course, with this health scare, I don't know how long I'll be here. We're letting the cat in the window here. Come on, kitty. Brucey the garden cat. You'll hear him in a minute. He's going to go eat crunchies, and then he'll come back in the room and demand to be let out. I don't know. Charlie, look. Quick before it changes. Come. You see how that's misspelled? DDVID, gray?
Yeah.
And now it'll change. It'll change back in a second. See, that changed and then this changed. So it might just be me.
A little dot on your screen.
No. Let me go over to the other.
Little dirt on the screen.
It might be my computer, David. It might be StreamYard, but this is the strangest thing I ever saw. So, is there anything anyone wants to talk about for the week? Not too many people are brave enough to say what they think. I don't know what the answers are. You know, I'm a professional question asker. I've got lots of questions. All right, so Bio Sugar, what do you want for a prize for coming up, answering my question on crazy stuff? Do you want seeds or a book or a seed starting kit? Oh yeah, I try to find something every day, Suzanne, that I get pleasure from. And right now, I am. You like seeds? What kind of seeds, Bio? What are you looking for? It's time to plant your fall garden, and you're down there where it's a lot hotter, a lot longer than here. So lately, you know, you all know I've been playing with resin, right? And I made a bunch of eyeballs. How did he get back out already? Is the back door open?
Yeah, he has to go out. So I'll let him
Oh, Brucey's back at the window. He goes out and then he comes to the window and wants to come back in. Demands to come back in. So I made a bunch of and now I've got all these gems. Can y'all see that? See that sparkle? Hard to see, but it's sparkling in the metal. But I made a bunch of eyeballs, and I did make a video on making eyeballs, and then forgot to do the last part of it. So I'm going to have to remake it and make some more eyeballs. But this is my first bracelet. What do y'all think of that eyeball? Pretty good? Okay, Charlie, David's asking, what is resin made of? Can you answer that for us?
What is what?
Resin made of. That's the side of it.
A couple of chemicals that polymerize when you mix them together.
The polymer. You think that's pretty for my first one? I think people will buy them. I've got eyeballs in all sorts of colors. And yesterday and today, I have been making owls. There's one. There's one on a heart pendant. You can't really see that, can you? Ugh. That focus. You know, any resin around? Yeah, they it's like a hard plastic, David. You see them. You see the stuff used in river tables, you know, where they've got natural wood and then they pour resin down the center to make it look like a river. And there's Charlie's answering your question. The most common epoxy resins are based on reacting epichlorohydrin with bisphenol A, resulting in a different chemical substance known as bisphenol diglycol ether. Charlie, look real quick on how safe that is for the environment, if you don't mind. So right now I've got another owl coming. And right now, at this point, to me, it looks like a praying mantis or some sort of insect. The stone that's going to go in there. Is what it's going to look like. Yeah, it may not be, Suzanne. Not totally. So let's see. I'll Google it. Okay. According to Google's AI, the uncured resin is toxic to marine life. So don't pour it down the drain, but I guarantee you anyone who works with it isn't pouring it anywhere. It's too expensive. And it is oil-based, which I don't like, and supposedly produces greenhouse gases, but many epoxy resin formulations have low volatile organic compounds, VOC emissions, which contributes to better air quality both during application and throughout the product's lifespan. This makes epoxy resins a more environmentally friendly choice compared to other materials with higher VOC emissions. So there you have it. I'm not hurting the environment. It's more environmentally friendly than the stuff like your soda bottles and other things. Yeah. So I can relax when making these things. So maybe I'll thank you, Raquin. I'm sorry, I keep mispronouncing. I've got to get better at this. Okay, Suzanne says, "Oh, thank you, Sugar. That's beautiful. You're relocating to Arizona just for fall, or are you moving there permanently? I think that's Arizona. Most of Arizona is going to be. No, I'm thinking Arkansas. Depending upon where in Arizona you're going, it's very different growing zones. Either you're in the desert or the high desert around Flagstaff. But Brassica, so let me know what you want. Send me an email and what you're looking for, and I'll surprise you, okay? I do need your mailing address. I guess I need to do a banner with my disregard what this says about 5 minutes. Just send me an email if you would. Yeah. When we were looking at places to retire to, I really considered Flagstaff. I took Charlie for his 50th birthday. I took him to the Grand Canyon, and we went to the canyon, and then we went rafting down the Colorado River, which I understand at this point we can walk down the Colorado River. And then we spent 1 or 2 nights in a cabin that was off-grid, and they had a telescope to look at the stars. And then we spent a couple of nights in Utah at Zion National Park at a buffalo ranch where the buffalo walk around your cabin all night and terrorize you by rubbing on the cabin. But I really liked the area. The air quality seemed really clean and crisp. I love the aromas of the pine nut trees. It was really nice. But I got thinking about it's an area you have to carry water in. They don't really have wells. You have to truck your water in. And I didn't want to have to deal with that in a warming planet, if you know what I mean. Yeah, David. It was pretty amazing. So, did you go North Rim or South Rim? Sifting soil. If you like nature and want to see something amazing, it really the Grand Canyon. Go to the South Rim though. Um, so I am waiting to see. I must have missed Bayou talking about where in Arizona she was going. But David saw a swallowtail butterfly, which Suzanne, I think, is responding to that. Yeah, I haven't seen, I think I saw one monarch. It flew past me this week. And I didn't know that they were coming back. I heard that they were going out. They're on the extinction list. But we didn't have any monarch larvae last year, and I'm not seeing any this year on the milkweed. Of course, I've eaten a lot of the milkweed. The plant's still there. And I think the larvae eat the leaves anyway, not the pods. But hey, y'all, the milkweed pods, if you pick them when they're small, are really delicious. Just make sure you blanch them 3 minutes before you cook them. Okay. So you're moving indefinitely, Bayou. So where in Arizona? Southern Arizona. Okay. It's going to be hot, like near Tempe, by chance. When Charlie decided he wanted to get his PhD in statistics, I know, sick mind, right? Statistics. Gotta love them. There were only 3 programs in the country that offered PhDs in statistics, and one was University of Arizona at Tempe, Rensselaer, which is really prestigious in New York, and the University of Florida. He was accepted at all 3, but I got looking at, I had 2 horses, and I knew I wouldn't be able to afford horses on a graduate student budget in New York. So that wiped out Rensselaer. And in Tempe, everyone was telling me that I had to put fly screens around the horse's eyes at all times because the flies looking for moisture would go to the horses and clog their eyes and cause infections. I didn't want that for my horses. Charlie had a double major in college. He did engineering and marine biology. So I said, let's move to Florida. I mean, we can have my horses and we can go scuba diving whenever you want. So that's where we did. David says he took statistics in college. A few classes, one at IU and a few in pharmacy school. Yeah, Charlie ended up, he's always top of his class. I mean, he's very good at what he does, but he finished the requirements for his master's and then got into computer science and engineering. So he went ahead and graduated with his master's in statistics and went on to study computer science and engineering at the PhD level. But you would know about the time he decided to stop going to school, they came out with bioengineering, which is really would have interested him with the biology degree combined with the engineering. So he could be out there saving lives, but instead he's writing code for a private software company now. But statistics, thank goodness that my master's degree didn't require a class in statistics, although I would have had home tutoring, right? Travels and gardening with DJ. What's along Route 66 that we should tune into, Travels? Fall garden, what's your planting zone? Where are you located? Sugar, I'm looking for your email. Let us know what kind of seeds you want, and I'll send me your mailing address and I'll get it out to you from Baker Creek. Tempeh is a possibility, or surprise, or Buckeye. There's a town called Surprise. That's funny. There's a town really close to here. It's called Between. Can you imagine living in between? Come see me. Well, where's your house? It's in between. Between Monroe and someone. Who names a town Between? So DJ, tell us where you live and we can tell you what to plant. If it's cool enough, of course, your brassicas, which are your collard greens, your kale, your bok choy, your cabbages, anything in that family, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, you plant your garlic, onions. Yeah. Where do you live? I live in between. The name's not in between, it's between. So try to use that in a sentence without saying in. So David's, are you left of center or right of center, David? There's a town in Alabama called Lickskillet. Isn't it Lickskillet, Charlie?
Lickskillet.
Lickskillet, Alabama.
Just up the road from Butter and Eggs.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Just up the road from Butter and Eggs. So would you like to live in Butter and Eggs, Alabama, or Lickskillet? Oh, that's hilarious. What are some other funny names? Which side of center I am on. I think my politics throughout my life, David, have always stayed the same. And it's the right and left have just kind of shifted around me. Do you think your position's any different now than it was when you were a kid? By kid, I mean voting age. I may have been more conservative. I do things backwards. I grew up in a very Republican family, but we were Boston blue bloods, and you can't be too far right in Boston. So I don't know. I'm mixed up. Google Lickskillet, Alabama map. Then there's Slop Choppy.
Yeah, I've been there.
What state was Slop Choppy in?
I think that's also Alabama.
You think that's also? What are people in Alabama thinking? Always been a Dem. That's funny. Charlie is from bright red Alabama, right? And he's Democrat. He's a lot more liberal than I am. But it's funny how some ideas today that were considered conservative are now considered liberal, and vice versa. My position on things is I just wish people would treat others the way they would be treated, and that we would legislate so that everyone could thrive and not just an elite few. And I don't know why that makes me radical in anyone's eyes, but that's basically my position. Auto factories, David. Are you of Arab extraction, may I ask? Or Middle Eastern extraction? A lot of Middle Easterners came over and work in the auto industry. Nope. Okay, well, as I said, there was no real topic tonight. I just wanted to chat. So I feel a need to give away 2 more things. So I don't have much money. I'm not working yet. So do we want seeds? Let's see. I'm going to go to Amazon and see how much these seed starting kits are. Okay, they're still affordable. All right. Gotta get the name. Wheel of Names up. Yeah, all our votes count, David. Okay, right. Yeah, I saw it come in for seeds. Let me go see what your broccoli or spinach. Anyone in here from the Arizona area that know what kind of spinach would grow best out there? Southern Arizona? Taking a GNU in the airport? What the heck is a GNU?
GNUE?
GNU. I Googled it. It came up software.
Oh, it's another name for wildebeest.
It's a wildebeest.
If I remember correctly, there's a GNU Linux.
Yeah. Pew, pew. I thought it was an animal. Charlie says it's like a wildebeest type thing. So what was your congresswoman doing with a new in an airport? She's been hanging out with Marjorie Taylor Greene. So I'll look into what will grow in your area by you, okay? So if you want a chance to win the little germination things that that I use. They're green bottoms with a dome on top and cells that you start your seed in, and the dome keeps it humid enough for the seeds to germinate for you. If you want a chance to oh, that doesn't make sense, David. Okay, so if you want to have your name in the drawing, it is, let me make sure my clock, I'm waiting for it to turn into the next minute. Okay. You have 1 minute. It's 10:16. You have to 10:17 to get your name on the wheel. Type hashtag germinate. Oh, okay, Suzanne. I'm going to click on that and read it later. I tried to click on it and it put it on the screen. Okay, let's see. Sweet Thumb, Suzanne, God's Desire. Sifting Soil. Okay. I'm going to spin the wheel for the germination tray. And it's sifting soil. Okay, the way this works, sifting soil, since I haven't really seen you in a stream before, thank you for coming, is send me a note to the email below, lbolivar@bellsouth.net. And give me your chat name, what you want, and your mailing address, and I'll get that in the mail to you. But you see, my train of thought and my memory is really bad, so I really do need an email with all that information, your chat name, your real name, address, and what you want. So we've got Bayou Sugar getting spinach seeds or broccoli seeds, and DJ or sifting soil getting the germination thing. So let's see. What's another idea? Would y'all rather have an herbal book, a book on herbs, or seed saving, or canning? I want some votes. Garden herbs, seed saving, or canning? Which is the topic that you would like to have a book on, and then I'll spin the wheel for books. Herbs, says God's Desire for me. Seed saving. Seed saving. And the seed savings have it. Let me see if I can find the title. I spent several hours last Saturday sitting shelling Indian mustard seeds. I mean, like 4 hours sitting there with piles of seed pods going through them all, and all I ended up with, 3 tablespoons worth of seeds. And Charlie's going to grind it up for mustard. Uh, let's see. All right, this is Seed Saving for Beginners, Master Year-Round Seed Techniques Comprehensive Guide for Harvesting, Storing, Germinating, and Growing Diverse Seeds for Gardeners, essential for sustainable living. So let's see, let me wait till the the God's desire for me, you're outnumbered. But seed saving is good to learn, especially the hard times that I think are coming for all of us. If you can learn to let some of your plants go to seed and save the seed for the next crop, I think that's the way to go. I'm waiting for my computer to say 10:22, and I'm going to give you a minute to type in the contest word. Here we go. All right. If you want a chance at the seed saving book, #book. #book. You got 1 minute. Sweet Thumb. God's Desire. Suzanne, Sifting Soil. God's Desire, Sweet Thumb, Suzanne. David Gray. David's one of the luckiest people here. Yeah, we collect season books too, David. Okay. It's been a minute, so I'm going to spin the wheel. Y'all ready? There we go. Click, 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 click. Suzanne. Woohoo! So our lovely moderator has won the book. All right. We all need that book, don't we? You know, what's really sad about modern life is, and I don't know if you all feel the same way, is you make friends with people and either you move away or you're with the internet, you've made friends with someone who's a long distance away. So in-person visiting is impossible. And I really miss that human interaction, being able to call a friend and say, hey, let's go get a coffee somewhere and sit and yak, or do lunch, or go to a movie, or play cards. And there's so many people that I have met here on YouTube, you guys in the chat and more, that I so would enjoy sitting with and just visiting, just shooting the shit, you know, and or maybe sitting around with a bunch of peas to shell or seeds to harvest, and crocheting together or doing something like that. And I so miss those opportunities. Okay, Sugar, we'll see you, and thank you for the email. We'll get that to you. know thy plant. Yes, we come. Sifting soil, I think you won the germination tray. Is that Mona? Is that your name? I'll try to remember, but my brain doesn't work right. Yeah, so we've got BioSugar with the broccoli or spinach. We've got Mona with the germination trays and our lovely moderator with the book. Again, if you want your prize, you need to send me an email at lbolivar@bellsouth.net with your chat name, your real name, mailing address, and what you won, or I'm not going to necessarily remember. I mean, I still have things to send from my live before my heart problems, and some of them aren't going to ship now that it's hot. So I'll have to come up with ideas on how to make it up to those people. One of the girls is in Canada, and I'm having such trouble getting things to Canada. So, Suzanne, I think I've got your email, Suzanne. I mean, I've got your address. I kept it. Did anyone get any deals on Amazon Prime Day? I did not. I did not participate in Amazon Prime because I knew the live was coming and I didn't need to spend any more money than I've already spent. Lately, I bought some yoga pants for my cardio rehab classes. And lately, I'm buying wire. How's that for a spool of copper wire? I've got copper and I've got sterling silver. I haven't done anything in sterling silver yet until I get really good at the wrapping. And now I'm looking at brass. No way I'm going to do anything in gold until I get really good at this. And it is a skill you have to practice. So what did you get, David? I saw a news article on how many Amazon employees were injured on Amazon Prime Day. Evidently, so much traffic at the warehouses that people were getting injured. So anything else anyone wants to say? Otherwise, let's go to bed. It's past Lisa's bedtime now. And a few kitchen gadgets. Oh, God's desire for me. Facebook put an ad up. Facebook's going to be the death of me. For a watermelon knife. And it's curved and it's got these little pieces of wire. It's two walls that are curved with wire in between it, and you stick it down into the watermelon and you slide it and it cuts cubes. So I bought one for Charlie. He's got a watermelon, but he hasn't tried it yet. 8 by 4 foot metal raised bed for $35. And a half gallon of mustard seed. Suzanne bought a portable hard drive. My husband's had to buy a couple of those for me, and they're full. A gallon of mustard. Oh, French's mustard. Just the orange stuff, or is it specialty flavored? Okay, half gallon. Well, half gallon. That's still a lot of mustard. I have a recipe for fish where you smear Grey Poupon on the fish. It's done with like an orange roughy or a cod, something that's thick, a thick white flesh fish. Then you grind up lavender and press it into the mustard and fry that. And then serve it with honey over the top. It's really good. David, there's a mustard that I fell in love with years ago, to the point where I ordered like 6 bottles from the manufacturer. It's maple syrup mustard. So it's hot and sweet at the same time. It's the best stuff. Now you're going to ask me, well, what is it, Lisa? I'll have to try to remember to look up a bottle for you. Because it was good. So anyhow, thank you all for spending time with me. I'm going to attempt to have someone, it's kind of like honey mustard, but it's with maple syrup. Anyway, I'm going to try to get someone up on the panel with me for the next live, which will be next month, first Thursday, which is actually the 1st of August. And then on the 15th, which is the 2nd August live, you'll all have to ask me how it went to work. I'm supposed to be open to go back to work the 12th. So I don't know if they'll schedule me that quick. I'm a little curious on how I do on my feet in the heat. But anyway, thank you for coming, and I hope you had a good time. It was kind of scatterbrained. Thank you for participating on controversial subjects. And the last live, I had quite a few requests to do more controversy. So I'm going to try to maybe do another comparison, because my master's is in Islamic studies, but it was a comparative degree where I learned contrast and similarities between 4 different traditions, with Islam being the focus. So I'm going to try to do something on that theme. Second live in August, maybe. Got to figure out how to do it without stepping on too many toes. But hopefully, maybe I can get one of my Muslim friends who's better versed than I am to come up on a panel, and you can ask some questions, and we can do a comparison. I could find someone who's a priest or a preacher that'd be willing to do that. I might do that too. Would that be interesting? Anyway, I know you get tired of seeing me. So anyway, have a good night. Thanks again. Take care. Remember to tell those that you love them every day, because you never know when you won't see them again, what will happen. So be loved, be well, and garden on, okay? See ya.